Thank you. Good evening to all the esteemed jury members. I'll just be sharing the screen. Is it visible? Okay. Can I start? So I'll be starting. Okay. Good evening to all the jury members and the esteemed members of Anon Global Foundation. First of all, we Team Infinity would extend our heartfelt gratitude to Anon Global Foundation for giving us this opportunity to explore this mysterious concept of taming our wandering mind. Over the course of our presentation, we hope that you like what we presented, and this has surely been a learning curve for all of us. We would like to thank the jury members for their time and efforts. And so the name Infinity, our mentor, beloved mentor, Yogesh sir, chose this name because he says that this mind and this human body has infinite possibilities, and we as young people even have a broader sense of infinity. So that's why we chose this name for our team. Meet the team. Our mentor is Mr. Yogesh Sethi. The interns are Ms. Jasmeet Kaur, Ms. Sanu Priya, Mr. Ankit Satija, and myself, Manasi, Prabhakaran. Here you can see our presentation flow. Since we are talking about the mind, we will first begin with where did the mind originate, talking about philosophy. Then we will move on to attention, which is an important perspective that has to be brought about while talking about taming our mind. Cognition, the processing model, how we process information. Then we will come to, of course, the very important aspect of it, emotions. And then we will somewhat link it to mythology and religion, because we feel that spirituality is intricately intertwined concept when we talk about our mind. Then we will come to the survey which we conducted, where we had over 110 respondents filling up our survey. Then we believe at Team Infinity is that what our core belief is that it is not enough to talk about problems. We also need to give some solutions. So at the end, we will be talking about strategies to tame our mind. We also have a surprise in store for our jury and for the members of Anon Global Foundation, where we have brought about certain case studies to make our presentation more realistic and more approachable. Finally, of course, we would like to have our mentor talk, and then we will be happy to answer any questions that the jury and the esteemed members have. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, Mansi. So our journey started with researching about the establishments of the mind. In the quest of finding our answers, we began from where most of the sciences have taken birth from, philosophy. It was Descartes who first questioned the reality and his own existence and came to the concept of mind and body dualism, and thereafter researches further progresses to form the present concept of what we know as dualism. Talks about that the mind and body are two different entities. Descartes was world-famous thinker, philosopher, and epistemologist. He said that the mind is a non-physical and therefore non-spatial non-substance. He distinguished this from the brain as the seat of intelligence. His method of research was skepticism, that is, self-questioning, self-doubt. Descartes began with doubting the existence method adopted to gain knowledge in various disciplines, sense perception. He formulated cogito ergo sum, that is, I exist because I think. He concluded that his existence is unreasonable because he is a thinking being. Thus, he concluded by saying by generating the importance of the conscious self as the foundation of all knowledge. Next slide, please. So, as you can see in this image, he divided the world into two parts. That one, the thinking substance, that is our mind, and the other, the extended substance. These are the two different categories he gave out of the world which the reality is formed of. Next came in the line is Spinoza. His name is closely linked with monoism. That is, mind and body are not different beings, they are single. He gave the doctrine of infinite substance. He talked about the mind and body are not different, but they are interconnected and they work in a connectedness. Next slide, Mansi. After Spinoza, here comes the Leibniz, who talked about the monadology. He said that mind and body are not entities. Instead, there's a pre-established harmony, and they both function parallelly, correspond between mind and body to a same harmony. Over to you, Sanu.
Now I'm going to talk about Locke, Berkeley, and Hume. John Locke, British empiricism philosopher, believed that a human is born in a state of tabula rasa, that is, a state of complete blankness, and that we humans, we fill up that slate with our experiences. He proposed a mechanical theory of perception, which tells us that all objects are inherently distinguished into two categories. Primary qualities, they have primary qualities like color, solidity, and secondary qualities like temperature or mobility. Though he believed that secondary quality is not as important as primary quality. Berkeley picked from that concept, but he refuted the distinction and said that the two qualities were inextricably linked. Neither could exist without the other. In response to Descartes' ego cognito sum, he came up with his own ideology, esse est percipi, which means to be is to be perceived. Next, Hume. Hume believed in the knowledge of the unobserved. There are a few things that we have not seen, we are not sure of it, like Napoleon Bonaparte. We do not know if he really fought the Battle of Waterloo, but there are a few things that we are definitely sure of, like all of us here, we know that I am the one who's presenting that slide. Now, even if the world is supposed to change, the world changes, but the fact remains that I am the one who is presenting this slide. So he said that there are propositions that are discoverable by mere operation of thought without its dependence on what else is right in the universe. Over to you, Manasi.
Thank you, Sanu. Building from what Sanu just talked about, perception. Now, these philosophers defined a process called as perception. Perception essentially means perceiving something as it is by using our senses, the 5 senses that we have. They're not limited to 5, we actually have 7 senses. Now, there is a concept which is inevitably linked to this concept of perception, that is attention. How do we filter the stimulus? Now, we have a variety of stimulus around us. For this, for explaining attention, I would like you all to think of an example. Let's assume that we are all sitting in a classroom. Our teacher is calling our name, but our classmates are chattering amongst themselves, creating a lot of nuisance. There is commotion outside in the playground, and there is some audio-visual presentation going on in the smart board in the classroom. So how do we know that the teacher is calling us? Now, this is where the attentional theories come in. The first attentional theory, as you can see on the screen, was given by Broadbent in 1958, who said that we have an internal filter which filters out all the stimulus that is coming to us at once and only selects the most important one. It blocks all the other stimulus. So if in the teacher example, if for me, the teacher calling out my name is the most important stimulus and all the other stimulus are blocked out. That is how Broadbent said that there is an internal filter within us. Now, there is another attentional theory given by a psychologist called as Trisman. Now, what Miss Trisman said, she agreed with Broadbent's theory. However, she said that the filter that we have does not block out the other stimulus. So when we are answering to our teacher who's calling our name, we are also aware and we are also paying attention to our classmates who are talking amongst themselves. We also have an eye on the smart board, and we also have some idea of the commotion going outside in the playground. So as you can see, the diagrams given in these slides pretty much explain what these psychologists were trying to say about the concept of attention. Now, while we are at the concept of attention, how do we link it to this topic of taming our wandering mind? Well, if we talk about a layman's understanding of a wandering mind, it is basically division of attention. So when we are multitasking, we are paying attention to several different things, or in the classroom example itself, the child sitting there is paying attention to so many stimulus around him or her. Now, this is where the mind wanders. Now, as I explain further, we will come to a section called the motherboard of mankind. Now, Team Infinity, when we were discussing our research, we thought of our body and compared it to a computer. So if our body is a computer, our brain will be the CPU. Now inside the CPU, there needs to be a motherboard. So we think of our mind and the cognition, that is the processes of the mind, as our motherboard. So the motherboard of mankind is cognition. Now coming to that concept, that in a layman's term, divided attention means divided cognition, because attention is an important sub-process of cognition itself. So when we talk about our wandering mind, these cognitive processes, which I will be explaining further, definitely play a role in helping our mind wander. Helping, we have multiple thoughts, we have multiple judgments, we are exposed to multiple stimuli leading to multiple thought processes such as reasoning, critical analysis, judgment. Now, all of these lead to our mind wandering. So cognition as a word has eluded many. It is a mystery. Psychology and in general, neurosciences are still studying, and every day a new research comes up with something or the other about cognition. Now, cognition as we understand today, it is the process of acquiring information from the world and processing it. The processes include thinking, critical analysis, reasoning, attention, memory, and judgment. However, they're not limited to these. These are just some of the highlights that we picked up. So in my example, attention was the, cognitive process in place. So when the mind wanders, cognition falters. Let us again take an example to explain this. Imagine that you're driving a car. All of a sudden, you get an important phone call and suddenly your attention is divided. This causes a deviation in your attentional process, as I just said, which then may lead to an accident, which is why texting or talking on phone while driving is one of the major causes of road accident. So here our mind is wandering. In our subsequent section, we will be talking about how we can use our cognitive processes, how we can apply processes such as mindfulness to tame this wandering mind. Now, I have a small activity. If anybody would volunteer to spot the differences in the pictures given here. Anybody from Team Infinity?
The clock shows opposite time.
Definitely Jasmeet. Thank you for pointing that out. Anything else, Jasmeet or Sanu, that you can see?
There's a cloud missing in the background.
Yes, there's a cloud missing in the background. So thank you so much, Jasmeet and Sanu. So our purpose of putting in this activity in this presentation was to explain how the process of perception as given by philosophers and the processes of attention and cognition, as we explained in the course of our presentation, are intricately intertwined with each other. They are inexplicably linked, because you can see there is a visual stimulus in front of us. That is the picture that is present there. Both Sanu and Jasmeet paid attention to the picture and then thought about it, which is thereby involving cognition, and then finally gave us what we wanted, the differences that were spotted. So with this, over to you, Ankit.
After learning component CPU, it is important to understand the overall process of the CPU. That is, how does our mind processes information? There's a lot of views and theories about how our brain processes the input and processes the output. Different schools of psychology think from their perspectives. The most common and modern approach to study the processing system is the human information processing model. It was given by Atkinson and Schiff. Studied human and behavior, developed beginning in the 1950s as an alternative to behavioral approach. In this model, the mind was analog to the functioning of a computer. It says that our human mind encodes the information that we perceive, then processes and gives out the output. The central tenet of this information processing approach is that the human can be characterized as an information processing system. Next slide, Manasi. So this is the multi-model given under the human processing system to this model. In this slide, you can see the first block, that is the sensory store, in which all the information from the sense organs comes, and then it is transferred to the short-term memory, which further processes into the long-term memory. While giving out the output, the executive control processes came into play. Over to you, Jasmeet.
Yes, thank you, Ankit. Now, emotions. I just want to ask all of you a single question. Why you feel what you feel? Have you ever wondered? There is somebody who is sitting beside you and doing something that is frustrating you. Have you ever wondered why do you feel frustrated? Has that person come to you and injected you with frustration? No. Simple answer is because you are happy because of others, you are sad, agitated, frustrated because of others. So definitely your mind will wander because somebody else is sitting on the driving seat of your mind and driving you into your imagination. And that person keeps on changing. Now, for example, a person who is irritating you is sitting on that driving seat right now and creating that emotion of irritation inside you. And for example, your son or your daughter passes an examination with 98%, you are very happy because of him or her. Now, that person is sitting on the driving seat and is controlling your emotions. So, definitely, this is a problem. But after this presentation, I'll make sure that this is no longer a problem. So, before discussing the solution, let's come across 7 primal emotions that all of us maximally feel. Right. Seeking reinforcement, enthusiasm, rage brings anger, fear makes us anxious, lust, horny, care, love, panic, sad, and play brings us joy. Next slide. Right. Emotional intelligence and mindfulness. There is a direct link between our thoughts and our emotions. So if we control our emotions, we can control our thoughts. That is that simple. So firstly, if there is somebody who is saying bad about me, for example, one of my teammates says something wrong about me, my thoughts, my brain should be with me, not with that other person, thinking, oh, why did she said that to me? How can she? How dare she know? It is my mind. It should be inside me thinking that why am I being affected? Who is she to manipulate me? That is her opinion, and she is not defining me. This is how you can solve every problem in your life. Now, emotional intelligence is a construct that explains how emotions are perceived, regulated, and expressed with more or less skill. Through mindfulness, you can be emotionally stable just by keeping a track of your thoughts. Now, there are some people who are very much vulnerable to lifelink scenarios and some are resilient. You must have came across people who really react very soon and some people stay calm in situations. When you learn to respond and not to react, that is when you get emotional stability and you can say that yes, your thoughts are in your hands. Now, I'll say 2 words, being emotional and being sensitive. Being sensitive simply means you are aware of your own emotions and emotions of people around you. But being emotional means I, me, and myself. You want to control everything around you, your ego is controlling you. Now, taking an example, your partner is not appreciating you, but you want him to appreciate you. He's making you sad, he's making you confused. Now, where is your mind? With that person. Why is he not appreciating me? Which is wrong. Put a cross to your why. Your why, your brain should be inside you. Why am I being affected? Why does that person define my happiness? Why do I want appreciation from him? And if you are actually being affected by something or something is troubling you, instead of assuming things in your mind and wandering in your imagination, just ask him, what is happening? Why are you not appreciating me? Maybe there is something that is worrying that person, which is more important than your appreciation, right? Now, our brain is constantly being shaped by the outside forces, and we actually don't know what these outside forces are. So let's shed some light on it. Number one, distractibility. Yes, we are distracted by people around us. We are distracted by situations around us, what other people think about us, and maximum things that we are distracted about are not even in our control. Either we are thinking about the past, or either we are worrying about the future. Second is loneliness. Yes, guys, loneliness. Come on, we can do better. At least loneliness should not be a problem. Third is negative self talk. This is the most dangerous thing. It directly goes to your subconscious. If there is a person who wants to become an athlete and he knows that he is not that fast runner, but he's constantly saying to himself, I'm not enough, I am not faster than my competitors. Will I even make it? If you even find it difficult, stay positive and talk positive to yourself. I can do it. I am improving every day. I will beat them and I will win the race. You can see the difference. If you take two plants and water them, give them same amount of water, same amount of sunlight. But with one plant, you are talking negative while watering, and with the other plant, you are talking positive while watering. You can see the difference. And the people who do gardening will deeply relate with me. You can actually spot the difference. Now, if a plant is reacting that way, just imagine the positive self talk can do wonders in your life. And the last one is loss of meaning or purpose in life. Meaning does not always mean that you should have something to do in your life related to relationships, careers, family. No. Today, I'm giving you a meaning. Start changing yourself, start elevating yourself, improve yourself every single day. That people have to know you all over again. Now, if we have some problems, we definitely have solutions. Four pillars of healthy mind: awareness, connection, insight, and purpose. Awareness, the capacity to focus our intention and knowing what we are doing. If we are aware of who we are, of what is happening around us, of our thoughts, of our emotions, nobody can disturb our peace. Even if a person comes to that athlete and tells him that you are a slow runner, you cannot make it to the finale. He will say, I know, I'm improving, and he will not get affected. Whenever a negative thought comes to you, just cut it there and then. No, I know this is the wrong way of thinking. I have to think the right way. Connection. Those qualities that nurture harmonious interpersonal relations like compassion, kindness, empathy, and positive attitude. We are always ready to criticize others. We should always look for their positive qualities. There are always two sides of a coin. Third is insight, which is the most important. Your insight about your own self. If you know who you are, if you know your problems, if you know how to deal with those problems, nobody can disturb your peace of mind. Nobody. Last is purpose. And I have given you a purpose in your life. Start being selfless, help others, and firstly, help yourself. We are all here because we want to make a difference. But we have to be the change that we want to see. Thank you. I hand over to Sanu Priya now.
Various mythologies and religious sections have come out there with their own philosophy of the soul. We are going to deal with two religions, Hinduism and Islamic. In Hinduism, in Hindu philosophy, we believe that the soul, Atma, is a abstract concept. It is a metaphysical concept. It is not the same as body, mind, or consciousness. It is something that stretches beyond the limits of time and permeates all the other distinctions. Islamic philosophy categorizes human into three distinctions: body, soul, and spirit. Imam Sadiq said in his hadith that the spirit does not leave the body until the person dies. The soul helps him to dream and station himself in the world. And the body returns to the soil after death and waits for its qiyamah. Picking up from mythology, in Mahabharata, Krishna delivers a monologue to Arjuna about dharma when he is hesitating if he wants to fight against his family or not. During our group research, Sir gave us a very interesting metaphor. He said that Arjuna is representative of a fickle conscious mind that is constantly in a flummox to make the right decision. Krishna acts as a state of enlightenment that helps us to guide Arjuna, our conscience. The horses are our emotions, emotions that are always fluctuating, always changing. The chariot represents our body that bears the weight of our intellect, conscience, and emotions. Further, we actually conducted a survey, and we are here to present our analysis about the same. So the objectives of our survey was to identify the emotions that humans experience in their daily life, to present the circumstantial data of everyday situations. We also wanted to acknowledge the effects of the pandemic that has had in our daily life. We also wanted to diverge in the various coping methodologies to regulate our thoughts and emotions. Jasmeet will begin the analysis.
Yes. Firstly, we wanted to know the pattern of anxiety in common activities. So we asked our respondents that if they have difficulty in reading books or novels or watching YouTube videos. And through the graph, we can see that 39.1% of population actually had problems out of 110, and 10% really had no problem watching YouTube videos or reading books or novels. Secondly, we wanted to measure the parameters of emotional intelligence. So we asked our respondents that can they recognize their emotions diligently? And we can see, we are really happy to see that 84.5% can actually recognize their emotions, because being aware, only when you are aware you can change something. And of which 63.6% of people actually had positive thoughts, and 36.4% of people were attracted to negative thoughts and did negative self-talk. Thirdly, we wanted to see the effect of pandemic and its impact on human behavior. So we can see that 15.5% were really disturbed by this behavior, this coronavirus pandemic, whereas 10.9% remain unaffected and 32.7% are still wondering that are they affected or not. Handing you over to Sanu.
Sanu, please
Unmute.
unmute. So sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. To identify if people saw chaos as a potential disturbing element while they were working, we asked them if they tended to create an optimal environment for themselves to work in before they actually start. 31.8% of the people regulated the optimal quotient of their workplace before they started their work. Next, while working on the research, we were also looking for some coping methodologies. So we asked our respondents what works the best for them. 41.8% of the people opted for mindfulness training. 27.3% of people believed that meditation calmed them. Other methods that we saw that were pretty much prevalent was social media detox and harboring hobbies. Next, to see if people exhibited characteristics to deal with their own problems, we asked them if they had rationally pondered over their own issues and did something about it. So as many as 66.4% people were confident that they were dealing with their issues and not running from them. Next, we wanted to see the popularity and the frequency with which people avail psychological therapy. 20% of the people agreed that they had sought professional help at one time in their life, which made us actually hopeful that the stigmatization around psychotherapy was gradually declining. If we think about a time like 10 years before, I don't think we would have reached that number. But the stigma is slowly going away. To assert strategies next, I'll give it over to Ankit.
Our journey to a problem is never ended without coming to its solutions. So let's talk about some strategies and assisted therapies which could help us tame our mind. So first strategy that is the most effective is meditation. The Buddha was the smartest psychologist I have ever read. More than 2,500 years ago, he was teaching people about the human mind so that they might understand themselves better and discover that their was a way out of suffering. Buddha described the human mind as being filled with drunken monkeys, jumping around, screeching, chattering, carrying, and endlessly troubling. We all have monkey minds, Buddha said, with dozens of monkey minds all clamoring for our attention. Buddha said, if you will spend some time each day in a quiet meditation, simply calm your mind by focusing on your breathing or a simple mantra, you can control your monkey minds. Next, the second strategy is about mindfulness, that is living in the present moment. You gently return to yourself and your reflection in the here and now. If you find yourself drifting off into thinking about what has already happened or imagining the future, it's the way to cultivate positive self-consciousness. Next, the third strategy is our intention. Our intention to perform something. It defines how our actions are going to be. Positive intentions help us to act positively and stay away from the disturbances occurring in our attention. Next slide. These are some of the assisted therapies which are suggested by various therapists who work in a professional field, which can help us taming our wandering mind. The first therapy is the art therapy, that is representing our unconscious subconscious difficulties in form of visualization. This includes drawing our achievement charts, drawing pie charts for our emotions, etc. Next is the music therapy. That every rhythm, every tune of music impacts different parts of our brain. It stimulates different neurodevelopment in our brain and releases different hormones, which affect our attention and help us in gaining peace. The next therapy I would like to talk about is the exposure therapy. It is mostly useful in phobias and anxiety. It uses the technique of systematic desensitization, that is, slowly becoming aware of your thoughts, of your mental processes, how our mind functions, and then gaining control over it. Over to you, Manasi.
Thank you. Now coming to the special part of our presentation, our case studies. Now we thought that our concept and the content that we are getting for our concept is too much philosophical in nature. So how our main purpose was to relate this to real life. So we came up with a bunch of case studies under the guidance of our mentor. The first case study is carrying a challenging relationship and raising a family. The second case study is dealing with challenging work responsibilities. Now, the aforementioned two crises are something that we deal with in everyday lives. There will be some point where we will be having some challenges with our family. There will be some point where there will be work-related challenges. Final and the most relevant case study in today's context is coping with challenging social issues like COVID-19 and its impact on the relationships that we carry. For the same, the team has put together a video which I would now like to present to you all. Sanu, could you just confirm whether if it's visible?
Case studies by Team Infinity. This is our team's attempt to tame the wandering mind by breaking the problem and analyze the emotions involved, then regulate it by having the right thoughts and apply our own faith to draw the right course of action. This is not a medical advice, but an approach designed by our team to help our wandering mind. Case 1. Carrying a challenging relationship / raising a family. Scenario. There is a problem in the family. One partner treats the other partner out of anger, often becomes overly controlling and at times abusive as well. The victim's mind is wandering and can't decide a course of action.
I'm emotion. I'm tired of being abused and controlled by my partner. It is affecting our children's mental health. I'm not able to talk to anyone because I'm afraid that it could hurt my family's image. I want to just end it. Just end it. But that was never a plan. What to do? It is devastating for my family.
My partner has been acting this way since so long. What can I do to help him or her? Is there any way to win an argument and reconcile without it getting ugly? Our children are seeing us. It is our duty to ensure that, they don't follow us this way and they have a good role model to follow.
I have faith that I'm strong enough to do what is right for my children and me. I'm going to talk to my partner and address the real issue. And if he does not show any remorse or attempts at making changes, I am going to respect my dignity and work in the favor of my children and my mental health.
Course of action. I'm going to reach out to some close friends and family who could listen and help me design a better solution for this behavioral issue. I'm going to collect some community organization information dealing with domestic violence for further guidance. I'm going to keep our children occupied with some activities so their attention and focus is constantly not diverted to our violent atmosphere. I'm going to find time to sit with my partner and communicate honestly and respectfully about the impact of this kind of behavior on our entire family. I'm also going to suggest family counseling for both of us and take appropriate medical advice as needed.
Case 2.
Due to paucity of time, we would be unable to play the complete video with all the three scenarios. However, we request our jury members and the esteemed dignitaries present here today to please take our time and see this little effort that we've made
Dealing with
to bringing forth the reality aspects of taming our wandering mind. Continuing with our presentation, now it's the time for listening to our beloved mentor. First of all, Team Infinity, Sanu, Ankit, Jasmeet and me, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our mentor who, despite the time difference and the difference of being thousands of miles away, was constantly with us, was a constant presence over the course of this 15 days. And, when Sir began to first talk to us, he said that this taming our wandering mind is not just an internship project for you all. Let me tell you that this is a life lesson. And sir, we're very happy to tell you, and we hope that you feel proud that we have really taken this as a life lesson, and we will not forget this experience of working together on creating this whole How to Tame Our Mind project. Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance. Over to you, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. First of all, it was my pleasure as well to work with you all. And well, my view was just going to be a cherry on the cake. You guys already laid out the cake for everyone. Everyone's gonna enjoy their, bite of the cake, right? So please do watch the video as well. The only thing I can present here, few things that I always feel very close to me, that as we are wide awake, we are in our physical and mental world. That means our presence of body, the dual mind, which is the conscious and subconscious, memories, imaginations, and feelings. So always be remembered that it is only happening when we are wide awake. When we close our eyes and go down to sleep, our physical world is resting and mental world is playing a game between our memory, attention, and imagination. And we keep thinking about what happened yesterday, this morning, we ate this, we met this. So it always goes in. Some people can't sleep because of all that game is happening. And sometimes we think about tomorrow, how it's going to be, 5 years down the road, what it's going to be. So the imagination is keep ticking with the conscious state. Now, eventually, if we learn with all the tricks and stuff that we discussed here, how we can calm our conscious mind at that time and give it over to our subconscious mind, then when we deep sleep, the physical and conscious world disappear. only subconscious mind is keeping us alive and even making dream stories using our memory. So whatever we had stored, that slate of conscious mind is gone. So it is keeping us alive as a subconscious and also giving us beautiful dreams or sometimes even nightmares based on the memory and how we trained our mind during our regular course of the day. Now, last thing, this art, as you can see, we began with the untamed horses and everything. Now here in this one, you can see the Krishna, the enlightenment, our own conscious mind, when it gets enlightened, gets all the guidance from its faith, creating a powerful, positive life. That means receiving happens via our belief of energy connection with this giving nature. Like the nature is so giving, the planet Earth is always giving what it can in the meaning of soil or a tree or the rain. It is meant like a sunlight, meant to give. So just like when we feel connected, somehow this is where my research ends, because when you're alive, you can tell what happens after the death. So we can only believe this special magical energy we have is connected to the divine power, which is so giving. And imagine this is where our faith comes from. A lot of people give different names, religions emerged, and a lot of things that happened down the road. And spiritualization became a regular practice now, even you see, which is a long time ago that was introduced by our yogis. So this is the kind of environment I just created for all of you. And I hope you all enjoyed and came to the point how we can easily learn to tame our mind on a regular basis that can help create our positive life. All right, over to Mansi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. As I said before, you told us at the beginning that this was supposed to be a life lesson, and I think we've learned a very valuable and important lesson in life, all of us. And we hope that we have imparted what we have learned to the jury members as well as the esteemed dignitaries present here today. With this, we come to an end of our presentation. Now, of course, Team Infinity will be more than happy to answer any questions that our esteemed guests have.
Thank you, team, for the wonderful presentation. I congratulate you all for the extraordinary efforts and you have put in and the great teamwork, I must say. Now, I would like to request Mr. Yogesh, the mentor of Team Infinity, to share his experience of these 15 days internship program.
Yes, absolutely. It's a mind-blowing experience. I was up day and night, definitely to cope up with their schedules. First, initially, we had a little slow start because of the coordination and the team effort that I think it's that churning thing. And then when it settles, we know how it's sedimented. So after a few days, everything sedimented very nicely for all of us. And everyone got the grip of what they have to do and how to keep up with all their topic and categories and everything. So it was amazing to see the journey of everyone when they had started. They had different aspects of life, and some have even worry about, we have no clue about this, how to tame the mind. This is a so special and creative subject. So now I'm happy to see, as I promised, that this could be a lifelong lesson, and don't take it that this is a 15-day course that is going to just bring a miracle, but this will be helping all over in your entire life. So that is the principle I chose, and I gave them a lot of challenges during the course. I know they were all busy with their academic stuff. I know they had other commitments, but some even work late or some started early. So we kind of gave all day and night kind of process. And then we felt personally that since we opted the last session for our presentation, we should give something special to Anon. So we created that video, and it's like our gift to Anon. So this way, there is something they can think of, that there is an effort produced internally from the team by giving us the last slot, which was not designed in the beginning. So thank you so much for that. And I would like to thank the jury members and all the hosts, the guests which are there today. I hope they like the subject. I hope they like the content. I hope that they truly admire the work of our team. And I always wish that they have guidance for all of us. I am also a learner. I always think I'm learning.
Thank you so much, sir, for the views. Now, I would like to request the jury members to share their views regarding the presentation and if they want to ask anything from our interns. Rema ma'am?
Yeah, I would like to congratulate the team for the wonderful presentation, and it was a good group effort with not much of glitches. So so well done team.
Thank you.
Hermina ma'am, would you like to ask anything?
No, I'd actually like to congratulate everyone. I enjoyed the presentation. Unfortunately, I missed out. I probably from something from my end, I couldn't hear much of what Ankit said and towards the end. So I lost out a lot over there, but I wish somebody would find a solution to the wandering mind, and your insights were very good.
Raman sir, would you like to ask anything?
Yeah, sure. Before that, I have a number of observations to share. So, first of all, I thought you guys have actually done something which is beyond just sort of making a presentation. Okay, I don't know if that's what your personality is like, but I could see a very calming influence of the presentation on the audience and on the presenters. I don't know whether you've acquired that dimension while working on this over the last 15 days, or maybe I'm feeling a little sleepy today, but everything was looking very calm. Okay, so congratulations for internalizing some of what you've learned. Okay, that I think is a bigger achievement than anything else that comes to mind. I didn't realize until the end of the presentation that your mentor Yogesh is in a different time zone. Yogesh, are you in the US on the West Coast or East Coast?
I'm in Texas, Central Zone.
Oh, you're in Texas. All right. By the way, very nice background. Is that a virtual background or you actually have that view?
No, it is. There is a background.
Wonderful.
Virtual, yeah. It's good. It's real.
Very nice view from your balcony.
Thank you.
I think you guys did a fantastic job of setting the context. Okay, starting from the philosophical underpinnings and talking of how the sort of the over hundreds of years these thoughts around the topic have evolved. The handover between the members was very clean, and that's usually always a little bit iffy with bad connection. So you did manage that very well. It did seem like well rehearsed, but I think I at the cost of repetition, I'll say that the calmness that I saw in you guys was sort of different than any other group. Okay, there's confidence, but then there's calmness, right? There were a lot other people who were confident as well, but I didn't sense this kind of calmness. Okay, the couple of by the way, another thing I noticed was a lot of focus on time management. Okay, usually groups lose sense of time and they really want to say everything that they have prepared. It was very nice to see that you voluntarily decided to cut the video short, recognizing and respecting the time for everyone. That's very unique. Very few people do that actually, unfortunately. So I really appreciated that as well. Couple of questions for you. One is, I think one of you talked about, referred to, I think, cognizance as the motherboard or some such analogy. Can you repeat that for me? Because I think the overall analogy was very well done. but I think there was a minor glitch, I thought, but I want to make sure what exactly did you say on that once again?
Okay, sir. So I'll repeat that. So we thought of ourselves as a computer since we are living in a digital era. So if our brain is the CPU, is the central processing unit. So inside the brain, there is said that the entity of mind exists. So the mind essentially will be the motherboard. That's the analogy that we thought of.
Okay. So I think the analogy was well designed, except that there is and again, pardon me for sort of nitpicking here, but being a computer scientist, I can't avoid saying this. See, motherboard doesn't go inside the CPU. CPU is usually mounted on the motherboard. So I think you got the analogy a little inverted, okay? But the point was well understood, so I wouldn't worry about it. All I'm saying is you need to be aware of the relationship between the motherboard and the CPU. Has any one of you done any kind of meditation exercises or mindfulness exercises, etc.? And was that done specifically for this project, or did some of you already have a background?
I would love to answer this, sir, because I really do some mindfulness exercises and I do meditation on daily basis. And maybe that's why you were able to feel that calmness. And because I'm doing this for a year now, and I preferably try to every night listen to some affirmations that are positive affirmations that will directly go to my subconscious. So this is one thing which is very unique, and I have recorded some affirmations for myself which I listen every day before sleeping and sometimes early in the morning too. Yeah.
Adding to that, sir, even I practice hyperventilation. Breathing exercises as a part of my meditation routine. And sir, also coming to the point that you said that all of us were very calm. The major reason for that is we never thought of this as a competition. We just thought of it as a learning curve for ourselves. So that was, again, sir, I think that would contribute to us being calm over this.
Wonderful, wonderful. That kind of also addresses one of the concerns I had, which is for the very abstract topic, some of the experiences that you shared, the video, etc., seemed extremely mature for your age, okay? And I was a little concerned whether this was your doing or this was mostly your mentor's doing, and you guys were just sort of, right? Because we do want the mentor to guide you, but we don't want the mentor to do the heavy lifting for you. But given your backgrounds, I'm convinced that you guys had a fair share of your contribution. Of course, I can see your mentor participated wholeheartedly as well. So I would like to congratulate all of you. I'll just leave you with two thoughts, since some of you already have that background and others seem to be interested. Some of what you were saying, I could, and I've done some sort of a few years, I've invested in understanding the original verses of Buddha in Pali, etc. Have you made yourself familiar with the Four Noble Truths? Some of what you're saying is very beautifully expressed by Buddha in the Four Noble Truths. So please study that. Okay, you'll be able to appreciate it. They look very simple, but there are very deep embedded meanings in those four simple sentences. But I think you'll be able to understand that. So look at that. The other thing I'll recommend for you guys, you young and interested in this topic, there are programs such as the 10-day mindfulness workshop done under Vipassana meditation camp, but there are others as well, right? These are brilliant programs to help you improve mindfulness. And a lot of people confuse concentration with mindfulness. These are two different beasts, okay? I strongly recommend that you explore some of those in your free time. I think you will gain tremendously from it. It's a life lesson, as I think your mentor also said. This is not just theoretical stuff, guys. Some of this can only be experienced. It can't be learned theoretically. So strongly encourage you to look at the Four Noble Truths theoretically. And then if you can, try and get into mindfulness, whether Vipassana or some other school, doesn't matter. Okay. Congratulations. This was a brilliant presentation, very well executed, conceived, presented with an all enveloping calmness, I must say again. So very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you, jury members. Now I would welcome Aarti ma'am to share her views regarding the presentation.
Congratulations, Yogesh, Manasi, Sanu Priya, Jasmeet, and Ankit. Actually, I was lost the way because when we were thinking of the topic, I was thinking this is so vast, how they can be taming the topic in a particular direction so that it will be having the flow. But actually, it's a wonderful thing to see that this topic can be taught to many in a unique direction. So excellent work. Actually, I had the goosebump while thinking of this kind of thing, this kind of approach is possible. I loved the emotions that you are talking about, the broadband filter theory that you talked, positive talk, and of course that monkey mind that will attract so many children when we'll be talking to them during our presentations also. I would like Deepa to say something regarding that.
Excellent presentation, too good. Congratulations, Mr. Yogesh and the team. And Manasi, I would really like to congratulate you for your confidence, very, very confident. And you have researched and I feel you have understood the topic also very well. So you all were so confident in speaking your content, because the confidence comes only when you just don't research, but you also understand what you have researched all about. So it was wonderful, excellent work done, excellent. And actually, I have, truly speaking, I have taken a pic of your monkey mind. That was too good and a very impressive concept. Very nice.
So today is our last presentation. I would surely would like to thank Rema ma'am, Raman sir, as well as Hermina ma'am for coming over and giving a good insight of all the teams who have worked on these topics. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all the judges. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I would like to thank our jury members, mentors, Aarti ma'am, Anon team for this delightful evening and their valuable time wholeheartedly for this wonderful session. Thank you so much. This is me, Deepika, signing off. Good night.
Thanks and bye.
Thank you.